Okay, this is the video for explaining fully on the system and what Massicism fully is on its philosophy and on the paths that it has and how it works and what it is about, so that all the newcomers, all the initiates can understand fully as to what they are moving into and such. The reason why the first few videos started out just explaining basically on the initiation ritual and on the three paths that we have, which is the sword path, the sage path, and the scale path, is because those are the three main cores that you'll be hearing about and learning about that when you join the faith, and that when you enter into this community. So this video though will explain perfectly on what it is all about and the specific points as to what you'll be hearing about throughout the community, practicing and putting into motion. Fully on the parts about Massicism and what it is truly about and what you'll be practicing within the community and that. Before we begin, I want to make it clear that my aim and that my goal with this, with showing people on how to do this, and that is, number one, is to spread the word and wisdom of the five main gods and the five main lords that is within Massicism, and that so spreading the knowledge from Satan, Lilith, Venus, Lucifer, and Asherah, as well as Lord Abaddon, Asmodeus, Mammon, Astaroth, and of course the main one that you'll be hearing about the most will be the Black Angel. And as I've said in these explanation videos, is that the title, the Black Angel, is a title, it's not technically his actual name. That specific entity that will only let its name be heard after the false matrix has fallen down, that after there is a certain high amount of people who would come together and create an actual community, which is what he is waiting for. Once that actual community is stable and established and placed within this world, his name will then be known in that, but not before that. The second goal is to have this community to unite people who are magic practice users and those who practice magic, to actually spread its knowledge and to help others though who are wanting to learn and having a specific format and a specific structure and path where they can go through to make it official. Because when I actually started this whole thing around about 15 to like 16 years ago, not this group specifically, but on my personal journey, and I was looking there for like a person who can teach me, who can help me out, and that it was basically everyone was saying that you create your own path, and that you must learn like this, and that you must find the information out there for yourself, and it took me a very long time with a lot of ups and downs, trying to find that information, trying to actually find that uh, that research and stuff like that, and going through emotions and all that, which is very difficult, and not many people can actually do that. And they're wanting to learn that, but they really don't have anyone to actually fully teach them. Yes, there are other organizations out there who already do this, and that who already have their communities and that. And that is where I get my inspiration from. But this specific community, and that I wanted to be actually to be fully global, that. Like at the end of the day, it almost have more than over 100 million people who are part of the community, that where it establishes that not only just spiritual framework, but also the mundane framework with security, with financial equipment, and that, and you know, uplifting the people, not just magically, not just spiritually, but mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, and also scientifically done that. Because within this, it creates a balance, and that where people can finally realize their full on specific potential. Being what Massicism would be about, which I've explained, but I'll explain more. That it's 3-path basic law, though with a little bit more details into it. The elements that we mainly work with, and that what we consider the elements, the earth, that like the 4 main elements, but we actually have around about 7 or 8. That the ways of chemi, the ways and language of algebra, and its importance within the community and within the faith itself, and the spiritual incline and that. With both explain the purpose of this group being taking aim from an inspiration of an exoteric and esoteric than that, because this is like a new system, a new path that caters for both, because you do have the magic practitioners who specifically don't want to learn, but they want to learn in the ways of left-hand path, and then you got ones that want to learn in the ways of the right-hand path. Yeah. So, what is Massicism? Massicism is the 3-path religion and practice where both magic and scientific knowledge are in balance. It's 50-50. That we do not rule out the science, because science has the capacity to explain the mundane, the physical, and that of the full spiritual matrix which we're living in now, and that it helps us to understand its transformation, its code, its system, its ways, and that and it allows us, when you fully understand it, it allows you to bend through it, to code it, and to open your manifestations physically through it. And then magic has the purpose of increasing your spiritual self, your spiritual body, your spiritual mind, and that with its practices, with its rituals done that and with the energies that you connect with though. So it has that potential. And within Massicism though, we take that potential though with high regards, because though we are not just the spiritual beings, we are also the physical beings that within this avatarial body, with this avatar vessel. So you have to look in the spiritual way as well as in the physical way, which is what science helps you to understand the physical way on a high purpose level. That, but usually though that's a little bit complicated, because with certain fields though, it kind of actually outrules this entire structure altogether, and that, which in another video though I'll explain though on the type of fields though that we usually focus on, and that. And then magic though has the purpose, the ability, the construct to actually help you with your physical, with your spiritual body, with your energy, with your power, with your black flame, and that. With that, you're open to the worlds though, which are hidden, and that allows you to understand purpose, structure, and the way of life, and that. And with death, because there are two sides of the same coin. So with that, it is a perfect harmony, balance, which in Massicism we focus a lot on. Because without balance, and that, you are off throne, and it is a difficult feeling to explain, but basically you feel off, you feel you can't fit anyway, because you are unbalanced with your physical and with your spiritual, and that can cause complications within your life and destruction. So within Massicism, the balance of the two is very important, because of it being the way that you can go through life with perfect understanding of that, and with that you unlock and you understand that what your true purpose, what your true potential and destiny is. Now with the 3-path based system that we have, the 3-path system is that of the sword, of the sake, and of the scale path. Now the sword is basically like the left-hand path. As I've said though, people who should join want to actually feel like they are learning the left-hand path though. So within Massicism, that is the sword path. It is an individual practitioner who moves on its own, gaining its own power, its own abilities, and its own structure and desired goals without the help of an external force that they do for themselves. They implement the peace, order, and understanding, and with that they are able to gain knowledge, and when they gain knowledge they obtain what they are looking for, and that they work well with their inner selves and that and such. So that is the soul path specifically, which in Massicism we teach you on how to focus on your inner self, your inner reflection, shadow work, and basically creating a field of energy that is yours, and that you can manifest, use, and control, and that. And if anyone else enters within that bubble around you, with that field around you, they know that it is your energy, it is not theirs. They cannot manipulate it, they cannot change it. It is yours, and that they must respect it. And the same goes that if you enter into anyone's field, and that you must respect their field, and that so that it can create peace and harmony and all. Now the second path though is basically the right hand path. Within the right hand path you walk forward to obtaining the benevolence with an external or divine energy or entity or deity. Within the sacred path though, you work though with a group of people known as a clan. You gather your clan down and you do forth your collective desired goals, because with the sake you use it to harvest together, and it is a small dawn that of collectiveness and within Massicism, the sake is the weapon used by those who control death and life, and such, who harvest and who sow and plant, and then who collect later on that. So within the clan, it does that, it snares, it challenges that, and it creates, and then later it will come back and take and harvest. So you reap what you sow in that sort of sense. That is what the sacred path is about. And it's also not just about your energy, it's about the energy of the people that you work with, that are within your clan and that and such. And with the other different clans done that, you work around them, or usually a little bit against them, because it's usually the competition and that, but it develops the character, it develops the ability to learn on how to work with your group, and learn on how to create the path, working together, that so that you can reach the one who you worship, the deity, the one that you call your patron god, and that you can, when your journey ends, and that you'll be with. Yeah, that is what the safe path within Massicism is about. Now the third path though is the scale path. This is the leader, the jury, the one who decides, the one who creates the sentence, the one who develops the law, the jobs, the stuff to put into practice, and that they're the ones who create these things in order to place forth within the community, and that the community can now use it to benefit themselves But within the scale path these people are the ones who hold all the responsibility and the image of the community because they're the ones who hold the good, the bad, the ugly, the worthless, and all of that. They're the ones who the community fails, they're the ones who get the blame. Not the people that are within the community, but the ones who are in the scale path. Because if the community fails, they fail. So they gotta make sure that the community is doing good, the community is in prosper, and the community is getting what they need and doing what they need, and that. So their role is very broad, and that it is very high level, it is very concentrated, and it has a lot of responsibilities and various best needs and that. But it also holds the highest benefits, the most perks, and all of that within the community, since they are the leaders in that. Now, within this faith, within Massicism's faith, like I said in the beginning of the video, we have around about 7 to 8 elements down it. Now, this factors a lot in because it's the basis of our magical practices in a way, and that. And with our magical practices, that we usually practice about 5 different types of magic, which is blood magic, necromancy, sigil magic, spider magic, and Enochian magic. They're all better known as divine magic. Right? These elements down that are stone, wood, air, fire, water, ice, and lightning. Right? And the binding one, which can be considered the 8th element, or not an element, because this one is just used, it cannot be used on its own as an element, otherwise it's considered a item or ingredient for a spell or ritual and that. But if it's combined with another one of the 7 main elements, it can become an element on its own and that. And with whatever the element you combine it with will change its outcome differently. These elements hold both spiritual and physical kinetic energy, and then with this kinetic energy it can be used both in the spiritual as well as the physical. And it can help you spiritually and physically within this material world and within the spiritual world. Now within the physical world, they react very differently from what they would do in the spiritual world. But in both in the physical and the spiritual, they need the same amount of energy in order to affect a certain person or a certain object or a certain area or event in that. And with each element they hold different specific meanings for different type of people within the community in that. And they can affect them both physically and spiritually, but it will be on different levels though. For example, with lightning, physically it can do harm and that it can damage one and that. But spiritually it can uplift and energize and charge one's ritual or one's sacred space or sacred circle. And that, with that, it has affected it differently than from what it would physically. Physically, it would damage it, but spiritually, though, it would uplift and energize the person in that. If it doesn't, though, like hit, strike directly towards that. So you're doing your ritual though with your temple, and it's raining and it has lightning outside. It will be spiritually charging that ritual that you're doing in that with spiritual energy and such. But if it hits you directly and physically, it will damage and obviously take you out, kill you in that, which you get struck by lightning. So that's the difference between it affecting you physically and spiritually. Now with the binding the element blood, it usually boosts that specific element and it can interact with it in various different ways done that, especially if you are using the blood magic, it would usually boost it highly in spiritual way and a little bit in the physical way, but mainly within the spiritual way. That is why the blood acts as a binding element, and that and not as an element itself on its own. Okay, now with the ways and the language of algebra and math and that, within the faith it is very important, not just in the mundane way, but also in the spiritual way and that. So if it will be able to help you to identify patterns, certain events and certain things that within your life that you will encounter on a day-to-day basis every day and that. And if you just look at it normally, it will just be numbers and it won't really mean anything. It will just mean what numbers mean. But if you look at it with the perspective of your third eye, if you have the third eye open, that chakra, that flow of energy, that will be able to allow you to see it as more than just numbers. It will allow you to see it as patterns of power, symbols of strength and such, and it will open up more possibilities to you, more possibilities for you, and then you will be able to use it in a much more higher and much more greater way than what you would do if you just look at it as just numbers. As an example of that, if you just look, if you take the most simple equation, that 1 plus 1 and 2 plus 2. In a spiritual way, that there is the saying that within Massicism, that 1 plus 1 that will equal a window, an open wave, that a start of something new, and 2 plus 2 will be 4 by the power of 2, subtracted by 1. Now, if you just look at it as numbers, that will not make any sense whatsoever, not at all, But if you look at it as a spiritual way, that you would understand what the philosophy behind it is, whereas you take 1 and 1, you place them together, you add them together, it makes a new thing. It is opening a new window, a new path, a new structure to something new. It is the beginning of something new. Now 2 plus 2 would equal 4 to the power of 2 subtracted by 1. That symbolic would mean that with 2 new things, 2 new groups are coming together, then there are now 4 new groups, but they were powered by 2, by the vitamin and such, which is the perfect golden ratio in that. But if you minus it by 1 and that because of that 1 represents the closed window, because not all paths will be open and not all paths will be made available immediately in that. So be minus subtracted by 1, the closed path and such. That is the spiritual meaning behind those 2 equations and that. Now you just look at it, I want to look at it as numbers, so it'll be basic math. 1 plus 1 equals 2, 2 plus 2 equals 4 and that. And that will be just the basic mundane explanation of those equations and that. But if you look at it in a philosophical way of that Massicism has, you'll see it means a lot more. And this can be said of every equation there is, that every equation has a symbolic meaning behind it, and that, and with algebra you'll be able to decipher these more and more within everyday life, and that. Another way is the chemi, and that it is a short form of chemistry, and that, but this is more of the magical and spiritual side of chemistry, and that, where it will show you on how things that transform, transmutate via the chemical reactions and via the different things and via different reactions done, that a reaction done to this that will make it turn into this, and so forth and so forth. But that is what the spiritual meaning of chemi is within Massicism, and it is the basic knowledge of alchemy, and with that you'll be able to learn how to shape and transform mundane into the spiritual ways, and that, where you will learn on how certain energies and certain things react with other certain things, and how to change them and transform them into the desired goal that you want it to be. That. So with that, that is very important within the faith, and that, especially though if you want to use the spider magic practice that we have within Massicism, that because that heavily focuses on that, on alchemy, on transmutation, and that and change and chemicals and such, especially when it comes to herbs and various other things. Now, the spiritual, the incline and such of that, it's the ways of exoteric and esoteric. Now, if you're new to all of this, the main thing that you should know, and this took me quite a while to actually find and actually do understand, and that is that exoteric, that is more like the right hand path, and that. So if you hear that term, just note it's right hand path, but it's right hand path on a more more higher scale, more advanced scale, and that it is the old way of the right hand path, and such, not like the modern way of the right hand path. The exoteric means external, that you're connecting to an external source, and that not just for yourself, but to commune and to communicate with a community and a group of such like-minded individuals, and that will work with you, and you'll work together towards a common goal, towards the worship of a certain deity or entity and such. And then with esoteric is inner working, that within, like with shadow work, left hand path, and looking with inward for answers, with inward for meaning, for purpose, and for guidance, and that you're not using any external source, that your spouse do not invoke. Your spouse usually would manifest. It won't use that call to. It will use I make, or I create, or I manifest now, and that with commanding words, and that commanding phrases, and that. In a way, that is what esoteric means. And if you go into a deep dive within it, you will see that it involves the Gnostics, and all this high highly advanced spiritual knowledge that they gained from looking inward and that, which it is though in a way can be overwhelming and that, but it is all to do though with the inward path, the inner path, and exoteric does to do with the outer path of another divine deity, the spiritual path to connect with like-minded individuals and with a deity that you all worship in that. Now within Massicism, we support both in a way, that by supporting both, that we do teach people to look inward for the inner answers, that you don't necessarily don't need to ask outward deity or something else in that line of the work, and that you can, and that with esoteric the ways that we take forth, we look forward, working together to contribute to the understanding and workings with the deities and the lords that we have and the gods that we have within Massicism, and that within its practices, within its beliefs, and within its ways. That in that way that we balance it out, that with 50-50 and that. Even if you choose the soul path, that you'll still see the teachings, the information, and that takes derivative knowledge from both paths, and that and the same with the sacred path, and that or the scale path, leadership, and that, especially with the leadership, because they will focus a lot on exoteric as well as esoteric, that for completing for themselves and for that of the community that they are in charge of and that. So in a way, that is what Massicism helps to bring, helps to communicate, and it's basic information about the structure and that and what the community will be like and doing for that. Now with this video, like I said, I hope to aim to target those who are struggling to find a certain group or a certain structure that is actually free in that, and that can cater for both the experiences that they want to experience with tasks and doing things and teaching them certain practices and that. And like I said, I know that there are organizations and groups out there already that are already doing that, but in a way that I want to get it more out there because I feel like there's not that many of them that will particularly be open out there and say, hey, you are welcome if you want to know this knowledge and learn how to practice it. Because a lot of people these days are afraid about what the mainstream and that would say about them and that. So if you are that type of person struggling to find a group and or struggling to find like-minded individuals to help you learn, to help you study, and to help you gain knowledge within these practices and paths, Massicism is always open for you, and especially for those who I've seen a lot that those who now want to actually convert because they were saying like Christian or like a different other religion that who now want to convert who now are falling out of it, and that I see a lot though, with these other people with, that they find that they ask them and that, and then they get turned down because, they think that they, just a poser or, making fun of them and that. And I understand that there are, people out there who be like that, who will make it as if they are not asking them for help to convert, and then they will, use that information that this person is trying to lay out there to them and make a bad name for them and such and such. I know there are people that who do that, but then there are also people who genuinely don't want to convert, want to fall out of that other religion because they feel like it is not for them, it is cutting them off, it is, eating away at them and that, and they just want to break free and, experience new. Massicism would be there for you, that would be able to teach you and that and such, though. And the way to get this message out there, that if you are watching up to the end of this video, leave a comment in the comment section that I heart Massicism or I heart, one of the lords that we have, Abaddon, Asmodeus, Mammon, Astaroth, or Black Angel, and that, and share this video. But when you share it, use the hashtag that you see on the screen and spread, this logo because this would be that you see on the screen here. This logo would be the indication for the Massicism community, and that to be spread out there widespread, and that for anyone who is lost, who is just starting out, who is new, who doesn't know anything, and that you can come to this community, and this community that will show you, teach you by giving you tasks, rituals to do, information to read, and other stuff to do and that. And you can interact and talk to other people that who are on the same level as you, who are just starting out, just as you, and you can commune and you can form the friendships and such like that. So, because the more people who are united, the more people who wake up, the more people who are, understanding and who open forth all 7 of their chakras and that, who gain more spiritual understanding and more spiritual knowledge, the more that this false spiritual cage, this false matrix, this system and way of life will break away, because this is not what the old gods intended for us. This was supposed to be a beautiful experience, a lovely experience, a great experience that, yes, with its ups and downs, so that you can get a more privilege and more greater understanding of what life really is, because there will be the intended challenges for us, and quests in roadblocks and all that, and obstacles that we should, get around that. But not just trapped and kept repeating the same thing over and over and over and over again, and not, not having the knowledge not having knowledge whether it's in physical this done that within the material world and you know the way the world is going on that the old gods never really intended this for decorations and that. So the more people who are woken, who achieve their spiritual potential, the black flame in that, the more that this false wave, this false energy in that will fall away, and the more you will see the experiences in that and the nature of the true gods return back in that within our world, within our domain, in that within Midgard or Terra, and that's the old name for this world. In that. So remember, if you've seen up to this point, comment down in the comment section down that, and leave a like and subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. And if you want to share this video and you want to share more about the internet, you can find my Instagram here, and the Facebook group here about Massicism. And remember to use the logo that I've showed you to spread the message, to spread awareness, and to get those who are lost, who are, to the community that will show them and that can help teach them to do their to start off with the journey, to start off with the practice that, and in a way to make it feel more official, that such. So this has been the first the video explanation about what Massicism truly is and such, and I hope that you have a way more understanding of what it is now and such. And with the next video though, we will dive deeper into more things about it and that. So like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below on that, and you can follow me here on Instagram and Facebook and that, and also X and that. I'll leave down on screen here, as you can see. Anyways, have a great day and that, and hasta regresar. May the Black Angel bless you, and for those who are lost, may he guide you towards to our community.